909 in Studio is brought to you by 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City. To find out how you can become a sustaining member or to donate, go to bridge909.org. Our guest comes to us at a point when we have a tremendous amount of anticipation. The new album doesn't come out until January. Maggie Rogers, thanks for coming in.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
So you have an EP out that's just great now that the light is fading, but the album doesn't come out until June 18th. It's called Heard It in a Past Life. And so when people get those gift cards for Christmas or a little cash, pre-order.
Yeah, please. I'm so excited. I've been working on this record for the last year, and I'm really proud of it. And I really love it, and I'm so excited for people to hear it.
Yeah. So playing tonight at the Truman, and we're anxious to see the live show too.
I'll be playing most of the record live if you come to the show.
Yeah.
Because I don't have enough songs for a live show.
Well, you know,
I only
you've
have
been
an EP
dribbling out music. There are a couple of things from the EP, and I think we've gotten 3 songs so far from the album. So we've got a taste, and it's all just amazing and all beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. You guys have been so supportive of my music. It's really nice to be here in person.
Actually, somebody at the label told me that we have played you more than any radio station on the planet.
Man.
So, you know,
Wow.
yeah. So you're in comfortable territory.
Wow. Yeah.
This is your second home.
Thank you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Moving in.
We had no idea we were doing that. We just like you.
Oh, I like you guys too.
Aw. So I think, you know, there's so many things about your story that are kind of crazy, starting with the fact that you embraced the harp at the age of 7.
Yeah. I think that's maybe a tip-off that I have very supportive parents, because I was a 7-year-old begging for harp lessons, and they somehow said yes. But my mom used to drive me like an hour each way, because I'm from rural Maryland, and I just was really, really into classical music growing up, and then was really into folk music, started playing guitar and banjo and writing songs when I was about 12 or 13, and then started producing music when I was 15 and 16, and now I have a college degree from NYU in music production and still making music.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So you did the harp lessons, you did piano lessons, you did voice lessons, but then, you know, the guitar, the banjo, you know, all of that. Those were just things that you picked up on your own.
Yeah, I just I really wanted things to sing with, honestly. And so, I mean, guitar, there's like picture chords online. So I'd gotten a guitar for a birthday and had some time one summer and just like started learning to play guitar. And then, I mean, honestly, I really started playing banjo more as a function of my gender, which I know sounds kind of crazy, but like in high school, there were a bunch of dudes that played guitars, and they wouldn't let me play with them. But if I played banjo, I was always the only one that played banjo, so I always got to play. And so I just started playing banjo because I just wanted to learn and get better. And inevitably, you know, like these things kind of happen for a reason. I think banjo is one of the reasons I like stood out as an applicant to NYU. So it's kind of crazy. If there's a girl out there playing guitar listening, don't change to banjo. Just be better than the dudes.
Well, you know, kind of like I haven't heard a lot of banjo and what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You know, do you ever think about picking it up?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I really connected with, there were so many really amazing records coming out when I was in high school that had banjo, like think about Bon Iver or Sufjan Stevens, and then I fell in love with the Avett Brothers and Mumford & Sons, who I'm so excited to be touring with next month. And I don't know, as far as my music, genre to me sort of just seems like something to sell music. It's not really something I ever think about when I'm making music. And all of my music has sort of followed, the style is sort of just what I'm being pulled to naturally. But the songwriting is all the same, whether I'm like producing it with a banjo or with a synthesizer. You know, in the end, it all kind of breaks back down to acoustic guitar, which we're going to do for you today.
So the process of songwriting for you actually started with trying to make your friends and your family laugh by making things up?
I mean, I'm a middle child, so I think that is like a natural start, but I've really always written songs to sort of catalog my life and to make myself feel better, and they're kind of just like journal entries. It's very personal writing. And I mean, so much of this record that I'm putting out in January is really about this giant change and transition that's happened in my life as I've sort of come into a career in music and graduating from college and kind of navigating this giant amount of change.
You know, I know that everybody's saying, John, when are you going to let them play music? But you just mentioned the fact that it's almost like a diary or a journal.
Yeah.
And you posted, it was kind of like part journal entry, but also sort of a letter to your fan base on Twitter. And I pulled out one sentence.
Okay.
And now I've got to find it. Yeah, I write to feel and sing till I feel a new way.
Yeah.
And to me, that is at the heart of storytelling. You know, it's like there isn't a story unless things change, unless somebody morphs. And so you're living that out through your songs. And
Yeah.
I thought that, you know, maybe that was an inadvertent thing to write. Maybe that just came out and landed on the page.
Yeah.
But that signifies what kind of songwriter you are.
Oh, wow. Thank you. It's kind of just naturally, like, even thinking about, like, when I started writing songs in middle school, you know, like, I would write something and play it until, you know, I would be called to play this song as long as I was feeling this thing. And then I would start to notice when the, like, resonance started to wear off with the song. And it meant that I had sort of naturally processed. And so then it was a good time to just, like, check in and write something new, which is sort of what I'm always doing and what my album process still looks like.
Maggie Rogers in our studio. We'd love to hear some music if we could.
All right. This is a song called Give a Little. If I was who I was before, then I'd be waiting at your door. But I cannot confess I am the same. Look at me and hit me now with all my body screaming out. In my mind I'm thinking of a place where no one knows me, and no one knows you, and you don't know me, and I don't know you. If you would open up your heart, drop your weapons, drop your guard, just a little trust is all it takes. Oh, I know that you've been around, but hear me now, I'm crying out. Let me be the light upon the lake. And if you give a little, get a little, then maybe we could get to know each other. Give a little, get a little, give a little. And if you give a little, get a little, then maybe we could learn to love each other. Give a little, get a little, give a little, give a little. Oh, give a little. If only we could find a way to leave all of our darker days, soaking all the sweetness on our skin. Oh, and if you're waiting in the sun, then carry me on wings of love to that brighter day where all begins. And if you give a little, get a little, then maybe we could get to know each other. Give a little, get a little, give a little. And if you give a little, get a little, then maybe we can learn to love each other. Give a little, get a little, give a little, give a little. Oh, give a little. But if no one knows me, and no one knows you, and you don't know me, and I don't know you, let's say that everything's fresh and everything's new. But what if you don't know me? I don't know you. Yeah. I can feel it starting up now, yeah. I can feel it all just coming
Let's give a little Maggie Rogers live on the bridge. Would you like to introduce your comrade in arms?
Yes. This is my dear friend, Elle Puckett, and she's here playing guitar with me today.
That's great. It was quite lovely.
Thank you.
That's actually going to be the first track on the new album, Heard It in a Past Life. It's available digitally, and the full album is available on January 18th. Maggie playing tonight over at the Truman. So you taught yourself some instruments. You'd had lessons in some others. Music was like this thing. And so your senior year, you turned a broom closet into a studio.
Yeah. Wow, you really did your research. That's amazing.
Oh, I try.
It's really nice. Yeah, when I was a senior in high school, I sort of like begged a couple professors to give me a space and started recording. And my first band was kind of just like the other musicians that were around. I had a really amazing cello and violin player who were my two best friends. And the three of us just started playing music. So recorded a record and put it on Bandcamp, where it still lives. And then made my way to New York City.
So 2012, first album, The Echo, on Bandcamp. There's another one on Bandcamp as well called Blood Ballet, and that one was second year at NYU?
Yeah, it was. I got to New York and sort of started playing in a bunch of bands. You know, growing up, I had to travel like an hour and a half, not a year. I had to travel an hour and a half each way to go to a concert, and so I really was this very special, sacred thing that I had to very much plan out and save for. And then I got to New York City, and suddenly, I could see 5, 6, 7 shows a week. And with going to punk shows and hip-hop open mics and Latin nights uptown and just, seeing every kind of music possible. And I started playing bass in a punk band. I was playing banjo in a folk band. I was DJing. And then I sort of found my way back my second year of college once I had this, tasting platter.
You know, it's most kids just go to college and learn to drink, right? I mean, it's
I guess
sort of
so.
speaks to the drive.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing else I've ever wanted to do, and I love music more than anything, and so it's not even this conscious thing. It's just this overwhelming obsession. I just am really nerdy about it. It's just.
And I think that's what everybody loves the most, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you want to meet and talk to people who are passionate about what they do.
Right.
I would say that I check that box.
So the interesting thing is that all these different types of music that were coming into your life actually had the effect of, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Okay, I appreciate it.
But it kind of slowed you down. Like you were trying to figure out how you could live in some of these worlds.
I don't know if slowed me down is the right way to phrase it, just because that sort of means that I was going somewhere fast. And I really had no idea where I was going. But I think, I was in the middle of college. I was 20. And I've always used music as a way to sort of understand who I am. I know where I am emotionally or how I'm feeling based on the way my music sounds. And I was just changing really rapidly. I was exposed to so many new things and ways of thinking that I hadn't heard or felt before. And I just kind of needed a second to figure out who I was and then what that meant. But I think you're right in the way that I was really slowed down by these ideas of genre, because I'd always been this folk artist from this rural place. And that was still such an essential part, and still is essential part of who I am. But suddenly I moved to New York City, and I just fell completely in love with dance music and would just stay out really late dancing. And I really started loving pink eyeshadow and rhinestones. And I didn't really know what this meant for me as a person, because I liked all these different things. And then, I don't know, I think it really took me realizing that genre, it's just, we used to live in a society that identified itself by genre. You were a punk, and that was your thing. But I think because of streaming services, everyone now has access to listening to everything, and I think if anything, you're more identified by the things you don't listen to than the things you do. It's way more normal to have Pavement and Cardi B on the same playlist. That's kind of what my currently in rotation looks like.
It sounds like, and you always have to wonder, like, are you supposed to believe all of the press? But it was like an epiphany when you spent a semester abroad in France.
It was, because I think, I attended this like 30-person, very intense, very small program at NYU of all of these people who were hyper driven towards music. And I spent a semester abroad living in France, and I kind of just needed a second to just be a kid and just like be in college and not have to know the answer to everything and not be trying to start like 4 businesses. I just needed to like go to school and learn and see some things and kind of take the pressure off. I think that's what I've learned more than anything, is that like the creative muscle really freaks out if you put pressure on it.
I think that one of the things that I love about sort of this journey that you've taken from playing the harp to playing the banjo to playing the guitar to falling in love with club music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a journey.
Yeah.
That is that when you left that club and had time to process everything, you decided that what you wanted to do is, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but take who you are and all of those things that you love and bring pop music into the mix, but make pop music human.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I loved, it was actually like Carly Rae Jepsen's record. I was sitting at home in my apartment in New York, and my roommate looked at me and was like, Maggie, you say you don't like pop music, but you should see your face every time that record comes on. And same with dance music, or I was just finding I was starting to like lose my protective shell of music snobbery and just like be open to liking whatever I liked. And I was still finding I was missing this like element of really emotional songwriting, and some of, I think that's why Robin, she put out a record today. Happy Robin Day, everybody. But that's why I think Robin is one of my favorite artists, because her songs are so emotional, but you can really move. And I think what I'm always looking for in music is a sense of release. And dance music has the ability to have this really physical release, and so does folk music. They're both instinctively very human, but I thought if maybe there was more that did both, everybody could just like sweat off and feel off a little bit more, a little bit faster.
Maggie Rogers is our guest. She's at the Truman tonight, and her new album is coming out in January, titled Heard It in a Past Life, and we'd love to have another song if we could.
Yeah, this is a song called Fallingwater.
Take it from here. Oh, I thought that I was coming the clear. Oh, it's getting harder. Ooh. I thought that I was doing so well. Oh, like everything was under a spell. I never loved you fully in the way I could. I fought the current, running just the way you would. But now I'm in the creek, and it's getting harder. I'm like falling water. falling water, falling water. Ooh, and I'm like falling water, set me free. You are like falling water coming down on me. And I never loved you fully in the way I could. I felt the current running just the way you would, but now I'm in the creek, and I never gave you everything I wish I could, and I should have seen it coming from where you stood, but now I'm in the creek, and it's getting harder, and getting harder. I'm like falling water.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
It's another one of the songs from the new album that's available digitally. Full album, Heard It in a Past Life, available January 18th. Maggie Rogers in our studio today. Also at the Truman tonight. That song, you worked on that with Rostam.
Yeah.
Originally from Vampire Weekend,
Yes,
now
yes,
on
yes,
his
yes.
own.
I wrote the demo for that song in my New York apartment, and then started working on it with Rostam, and we kind of toiled away at it for close to like a year and a half. And it's a very funny thing to play that song with an acoustic guitar, because it's mostly piano, and then there's like 18 vocal tracks, so it's also like, it's definitely a thing for me to sort of pick what to sing and how to represent that song in this sort of situation. But for a very long time, there was just like 2 minutes of that song, and Rostam and I had a really hard time trying to figure out how exactly it should be finished. And I like had a dream about that melody in the middle, the like humming part that comes in, and I like voice memoed it immediately. And then I saw Rostam like 2 months later and was like, okay, I've got this idea. This is how it goes. And he looked at me and he said, it's really great, but it's way too slow. And so we changed the tempo. And so there's a big old tempo change in the middle of that song.
Yeah. Well, it was quite lovely today.
Thank you.
So about a year into your time at NYU, you went off and did a month-long, basically, hike through Alaska, part of a program of some kind.
Yeah. I broke up with a band, which can sometimes be more emotional than a person. And was like, all right, forget music. I'm going to be an outdoor guide. I'd always loved being outside. But so, yeah, I went to Alaska for a month and was doing a bunch of like basic certification. And I kind of stopped writing music after that for a little while. I just like, I wasn't really sure what to say or what to do. And yeah, so when I started writing music again my senior year, I kind of picked up where I left off.
So that trip eventually inspired the song Alaska, which was one of the key things in your climb,
Yes.
your rise. When did you start recording like outdoor sounds?
I started recording outdoor sounds 2 years after I was in Alaska, sort of the year before I wrote the song. So I wish I could like visually make you a timeline.
Yeah, I wish you could
the
too.
timeline is important.
Yeah.
It would be color coded. I started taking field samples because I was looking for a way to come back to music, and I was having a really hard time just like writer's block, and sort of like I was saying before, feeling like I was changing, and coming back to just like writing songs felt really overwhelming. And so I started taking these samples as like almost like giving myself parameters of like maybe it would make me more creative if I gave myself a set of rules to work in. And one of those rules was like use more found sounds.
So you used tree falling to accent a bass line in your EP.
Mm-hmm.
You used rattlesnakes to accent percussion.
Yep.
You slapped your jeans
Yep.
for percussion. But the one that
These are the Alaska slap jeans.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I
Studio.
I feel honored. And you use crickets.
Yeah.
But the one that I really was the most curious about, and I think it's the one that for me is like the most effective, is you use mourning doves. Yes. And the question that occurred to me is, did you have to auto-tune them? Because they're perfect in that song.
No, and it's funny because I was really stubborn about it. Like I really didn't want to affect the pitch, because I feel that like part of what makes songs feel human is the like perfect error in them. And I thought that if I auto-tuned my voice or any of these samples, that you would lose that like looseness that those sounds have. And yeah, it kind of just worked perfectly. But it has been kind of crazy playing it live, because when you're thinking about a zillion things and trying to sing at the same time, a flat dove is not your friend.
That's the pull quote.
It works perfectly, but it's not really perfectly.
That is the pull quote of this interview. A flat dove is not your friend.
A flat dove is not your friend.
Yeah, wow. So, when you were in college, I feel like you kind of like did the cheat, right? You had a fallback. You were going to be a music journalist for a while. You interned at Spin.
I have a second degree in English.
And then you ended up interning at L. Mm-hmm. And you left the internship early.
Yes.
And then the person that you worked under wrote one of the most remarkable articles that I've ever read, because the basis of the article was her envy of you.
Yeah. I haven't really done anything with Elle magazine since then. I don't know really what to say. I did this interview. I thought it was going to be this really nice, I'm speaking very candidly, but I thought I was going to be doing this, like, it was pitched to me as this like very nice, like, your old boss wants to interview you, and we got along really well. Like, I just thought it was going to be this really sweet thing, and it's not a nice piece.
It was in places. I mean,
I should have known that when they didn't want to do a new photo for the September issue, that something might be off. But yeah, strange.
Yeah.
Strange. I think you're one of the few people that actually read the article.
Well, it was complimentary, and I thought that she was sort of like taking herself down a notch for feeling that way. I'm sure it read differently.
I don't know what to say. They like really, yeah. They contacted my family a bunch for that article. Like, it kind of crossed some boundaries. It just like didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I will stop this conversation because I don't want to cross any boundaries with you. One of the things that caused you to want to leave is your career just started to kind of explode. Things were taking off. And famously, you had a master class where Pharrell came in and was kind of blown away by what you did. And, there are different versions of it online, and I'm not sure I found them all, but over 4 million views so far of that. And so it is worth watching. It's a really gripping 10 minutes, right? But the thing that I really walked away from that with, that I really wanted to ask you about, was you have synesthesia, and so does Pharrell. And it comes in different forms, but for you all, for the two of you, you see music as color. And for a long time, people thought that, it was sort of like, keep those people away. I think it seems like it's a gift, and I'm actually quite jealous.
It's not something I even realized I experienced until I actually went to music school, and we were talking about frequency and sound in engineering classes, and we're talking about different level of hertz, like, and I'd be like, oh, it's green, just like make it a little bit like more blue, and people would be like, what are you talking about? And I don't know really. It's not something that like impedes my vision or anything.
Right.
It just is sort of like, it's become a really crucial part of my creative process, because before I make any kind of music, I often make some sort of like color mood board to figure out how I'm feeling and what textures and tones I'm being drawn to, and then it helps just like simplify and sort out my brain a little bit better when I know what the color palette goal is. What occurred to me shooting that through my filter is that it changes that age-old question when you're writing, which comes first, the words, the music, or the color? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, we know the answer for you now.
Yeah.
It does seem like really unusual, though, because it's a very rare thing. And for you, Pharrell, Lord, supposedly also. You have to wonder if maybe that's a tool that helps.
I don't think it hurts, but I think that like everybody coming into making music, it's about personal expression. So I think everybody kind of brings in their own like unique set of tools.
And when you're writing, those color palettes help. But you don't write every day, and when it comes, it just comes.
Yeah, it's something I'm trying to get better at, actually, because I don't write every day, and when I do write, it's like kind of in 15-minute like spurts, and then the whole song is there. And obviously I'm like kind of ruminating on it during that time, but I'm trying to get better at the craft of songwriting instead of just like spontaneously combusting and having a song appear. I think, Fallingwater was really the first time I'd worked on a song. Like I would work on an English paper and really learning to refine and edit and trust my gut about songwriting on like a daily basis instead of just like in these flashes of connection. I don't know. It's a process.
Yeah. Oh, we love everything that we've heard. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know that talking about yourself all the time and doing all this press is just got to be just, not the most fun. And you're on tour and to take time off and come in. It's just a total gift that we'll never be able to repay. So
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I know that song is, I've read over and over, you say that, you make this music for yourself, but it's got to be rewarding to see the reaction to this record already.
I haven't really looked.
It was most added last week, so it's doing well right out of the box.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, so congratulations.
Thank you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. So much of being a musician actually turns out to not be about making music. So I try and kind of keep it as much about the music as possible.
Yeah. Well, congratulations
Thank
anyway.
you.
And everybody should know that a bunch of the album is already available digitally, but if you want the full thing, and you should want it, it is Heard It in a Past Life, and it will be available January 18th, Maggie Rogers.
If you're not doing anything next Saturday, too, you can tune in and find us because we're going to be on Saturday Night Live playing that song.
Yeah, how about that? That's going to be insane, right?
It's so insane. It's like totally wild. Yeah.
Hopefully they haven't booked you for a day or two after that, because the after show parties are supposed to be legendary.
I will be in Boston that Monday and Tuesday, unless I am in Maryland doing jury duty. Which is what I'm in the middle of right now.
So which are you more excited about, Saturday Night Live or jury duty?
I'm really trying to reschedule the jury duty.
That's an excuse that I'm guessing they've never had before.
I called the office this morning and I was like, hi, can I move this to like next week? Because participating in our democracy is essential. Everybody go vote.
Yeah.
Everybody be on a jury panel.
Yeah.
Just maybe not next week.
Let's end it on that civic note. That's a beautiful place to go. Maggie Rogers, again, such a gift today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Tonight at the Truman, and Heard It in a Past Life, January 18th. Maggie Rogers live today on the Bridge.